What you writing there?
Those I wish to butcher!
That's not how that works, you know.
Hi there everyone, Scott and Lars back with another review and analysis for Dandadan, brought to you by Camille's Harem, a channel for novice authors by novice authors, and because writing is an adventure, it's way more fun with friends, and beware the turbo granny powers. Yes, I finally got to see one of my favorite panels in the entire manga animated, and it was glorious this episode. But at the same time, was this episode really peak? Or did it end up having a lot more mid? We shall discuss.
Yeah, we've got some stuff to discuss there. But this episode, still fun. Like, I'm still really enjoying the characters. And, like, because I'm enjoying the characters, even an episode like this is enjoyable. So, like, it just getting straight in the episode. We had this epic setup the previous episode. Okarun had this epic musical montage power-up, which really well done. And we talked about that in when we talked about the previous episode. But it was all set for this like huge, gigantic battle with the Evil Eye to finally solve and figure out a solution for what's going on with that without having to exorcise the Evil Eye out of... Dang it, what's his name? Gigi. There's been so many characters recently in my head that start with G, like J-I, that like I was gonna say either Jinu or Jinchi instead of Gigi. So thank you. Anyway. So like it leads into an absolutely epic battle. And you could definitely see Okarun's full-on powered up. He still has the issue with only being able to go all out for so long, but he still ends up like really trashing Evil Eye, and until he transforms back and Evil Eye is like, this is fun, we should do this more, and Okarun's just like, no, I'm not feeling like it. And Evil Eye's all like, but why, we were having so much fun, like turn back, like let's keep going at it. And Okarun's like, nah, I mean, I don't mind doing this every now and then, but let's kind of postpone. Let's like have you experience life kind of idea. And so they strike a bargain because Evil Eye definitely acted more like a child, because in all reality, even though he's however many years old, he's still a child. Ends up like agreeing to the bargain, sacrificing Gigi's underwear in the middle of it, which leads to kind of embarrassing scene right there, especially for everybody else involved. But Okarun's like committed to the bit, so he grabs the underwear and they seal it up in a box and hold it at the one bootuber's at shrine.
Yeah, so much for the snake skin. We now have underwear.
Right? And then Gigi's parents show up, and he's able to go back home, and everybody's able to go back home for only a little bit, because they show back up with the help of the punching crustacean alien dude to like help rebuild the house, and they use some super technological doodads to do that.
Yeah, that's a good term for
like they're playing with.
doodads.
Yeah, it's like they're playing with alien Play-Doh, but it allows them to make like actual physical things and repair it in real time after it's been damaged, which I could see being super useful, super duper useful. Anyway, and Lars keeps hinting, he's like, it's gonna be important later, just you don't wait, it's gonna be important later. And I'm like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. It's still kind of fun, fantastical kind of goofy stuff, but it's like this really wholesome moment where everybody kind of pitches in to help rebuild the house that's been completely destroyed and trashed. After that, we get some really goofy schoolyard shenanigans, especially when Gigi turns back into Evil Eye and has to go through school life and has to experience all sorts of new crazy stuff he's never experienced in his life.
Like chopsticks.
Like chopsticks or new flavors of juice, and just a running joke that like Momo can't for the life of her can't find anything hot or at least warm. Like none of the drinks are warm, none of the food's warm. Like it's all sold out by the time she gets there. So just have to keep dealing with Evil Eye going around and threatening people, but also like completely marveling at everything around, which was super fun schoolyard shenanigans. And then after the credits, we get introduced to a new character who's talking to Okarun. And Okarun's not really paying attention until the guy's like, yeah, I'm talking to you. And Okarun's like, nobody ever really talks to me other than like Momo and Ida and Gigi for that matter.
Oh, their first full conversation is going to like make the world like turn upside down.
Oh, dear.
You're just all like, you're like, oh my gosh, how have these two existed in the same classroom and it hasn't imploded?
Oh no. Yeah, I'm concerned. Super fun episode, but we do have some issues with it. And I think the biggest part of it was there was so much setup the previous episode, so much dramatic energy that was put into the cliffhanger from the previous episode. And this episode kind of left us feeling unfulfilled. I mean, the battle at the start was fantastic. It was super fun, but it wasn't nearly as dramatic as any of the other fights that we've seen in this show. And all it really did was showcase one, that Okarun had a different idea on how to deal with Evil Eye than just fighting him, and two, that Okarun seriously powered up from the whole musical montage the previous episode.
Yeah, when we were discussing this before we began recording, I brought up the matter of pacing. And this is where Dandadan's pacing finally tripped it up. I would argue that throughout the entire show, both season 1 and season 2 up until this point, it's been fantastic. They've made excellent choices about where to extend things, where to cut things, where to speed things up, and so forth. But when you look at this episode on its own, maybe when you watch all the episodes back to back to back to back to back, it works a little bit better. But on its own, it feels unfulfilling because the fight is completely faithfully adapted right out of the manga, which is awesome, except that means that the fight's really fast because it's a very, very brief fight. Okarun realizes he needs to go all out and trash Evil Eye from the get-go and basically exert dominance and then start playing the mind games, convincing Evil Eye that the reason why it got trounced so quickly was because Okarun is just so powerful. And therefore, if there's going to be any further fighting, it can only be against him, and then he can start setting all of the terms. Okarun has learned after his last encounter with a ghost of making deals back in season 1. However, the issue is that because we spent so long in the previous episode with all of this buildup, and it was fast-paced buildup too, it was really insane. You're at the edge of your seat. When we then have the final battle, it feels like the payoff is so quick that it's unfulfilling. There's nothing wrong with a short fight, and that's something that I, as an author who loves writing fight scenes, needs to take more to heart, that shorter fight scenes can still get the job done, but when you've put in so much time and investment into building up to this moment, for it to only go so quickly by, it feels like the wind gets taken out of your sails. And yes, I know that we have to deal with everything else, all of the schoolyard shenanigans building up to the next arc in this episode, but I think that in hindsight, it might have been better to speed up the musical montage from the previous episode and then have that episode end with either end with Okarun winning and making the deal, or Okarun beating Evil Eye but reverting back, and then you have a cliffhanger of like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? So that way you have more time to actually dedicate to the building up of the next arc, and you give the final fight its proper due. I think that would have been the better way to go about this.
And I wouldn't be surprised by increasing the pace, because I feel like Dandadan's done that to us before. and we've been 100% okay with it. And so the fact that we feel like it's slowing down now is kind of what's disappointing us so much. Yeah, I fully agree with that. I mean, I enjoyed everything else. We get to see some really cute moments between Okarun and Momo. We get to see like all of the goofy shenanigans of Evil Eye going to school for the first time ever. Um,
Yep.
and it's like you've got a kindergartner in high school who does not know like social etiquette, doesn't know how to eat properly, doesn't know how to write, like completely bizarre new environment for this ghost, and it makes it really entertaining.
And we also got to remember as well that the show is showing us what everyone can see when they have
Yeah,
like when they have like the magically touched eyes. You've seen the
right.
world of the yokai and the aliens. Everyone else just sees hunky Gigi running around doing these
and
things.
being weird, which and like the thing is Gigi's kind of been odd off of the get-go, so it kind of fits his vibe, but like it helps that Momo is running interference and kind of helping to tone down a lot of people's perceptions, because Evil Eye definitely comes off a bit rough.
I understandably so.
I do really like the scene though where it's just Gigi and Momo walking to school before Evil Eye comes out, and Gigi's like, "Oh, do you have somebody you're in love with?" And like Momo completely freezes up, and I'm like, these are the moments that live for. Just that by itself kind of made this episode worth it to me, because it's really showcasing Momo's there, and like she completely freezes up about it. She's not quite ready to fully accept it, but it's fully there at the same time.
And just to lead us into the next arc, it's important for Momo to be thinking about this, not just because of the natural progression of the relationship that she has with Okarun, but that there is going to be a challenger, a new challenger to for Okarun's heart. In fact, actually, there's going to be two coming up. That one of which has already shown up, but she hasn't yet been given a proper introduction yet. And then the other one's going to be making a real show here very soon. And one is a little bit more reserved as far as like having feelings for Okarun. The other one is blatant. If you thought that Ira was in your face, this one is just all like, oh my, and it's going to cause all kinds of drama. And and this is a neat, subtle turn to not just simply prep us for what's about to happen, but also prep
Right.
Momo, because part of the fun of Dandadan is this slow burn romance between her and Okarun. And if you just simply hurl the next big event and say, look, they're now getting closer together. Yeah, it's romantic progression, but it then comes out of left field rather than being properly set up. Sculpted is what I like to say, like where you're like, okay, I'm planning this great monument. Therefore, I need to make sure that I smooth out these edges, that there's lines here and stuff like that. So that way, when you see the final product, it makes sense. And this little conversation right here, sure, you might say, oh, why is Gigi dropping this? Well, it's kind of hinted at that Gigi might have had at one point feelings for Momo. Maybe he has them right now. Don't really know. Gigi's also just the open guy who would ask this kind of a question. And after everything that Momo has gone through with Okarun since the Springs, they've grown together in a way that didn't require magic. I mean, yes, plenty of magic was involved, but it was natural. Them living together, spending time together. And when you are in that kind of environment, just spending good, wholesome time with another person, feelings will develop or deepen. And Momo is confronting that.
Honestly, I think that's one of the biggest conclusions of the episode. I mean, we had the whole conclusion with what's going on with Evil Eye and creating an environment that's not quite so like nerve-wracking, so we can move on to the next arc. But at the same time, like it brings up questions. Is like, okay, Evil Eye's promised not to fight. What happens when something crazy happens and when they actually need Evil Eye's help with what happens next? I'm like, that's one of my big questions from this episode, and I'm sure it's going to be relevant coming forward. Is like, oh crap, we need your help, but you promised not to fight, like only me. How do we deal with this situation?
I've got one of the biggest smiles on my face right now because I actually just read the chapters on my way home from work where that becomes relevant, and it's awesome.
Nice. I'm excited to see that. No, if that's far enough out, that might be next season.
It will be next season. This season we're going to have this will be interesting to see how this is interpreted going forward. I call everything that's going to be happening from this point onwards to the not the end, but kind of the big reveal of one of the characters who's about to be introduced, the kaiju arc, because the main running theme is that there's a kaiju involved in all of this. But the way that the anime is setting it up is that the kaiju arc will end this season, and then we'll kick off the next season with just something huge. Like, this is where like Dandadan propel, like the next part is where Dandadan propels itself into the same crazy heights of shonen action like One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach, where it just gets big. It becomes over the top. It is violent. It is insane. Like if you thought that Dandadan was already insane, like the kaiju arc, in my opinion, is what takes it into that next level. But the way that the anime seems to be setting up is like, oh no, the kaiju arc will end this season, and then the next season, I can't say what they would then call it because that would immediately be a massive spoiler for anyone who hasn't read the manga of like, oh, so that's what's going to happen. And I do not want it to be spoiled because it is so insane, and it rips your heart out too at the same time. It's not just action. It might be Dandadan's most depressing arc, actually.
So the only pattern like that clues me into anything that happens after that is because like they keep going back and forth between the yokai and the aliens, and so like it'll be going back to the yokai at that point. And, okay, I'm looking forward to. I mean, and like it's funny you say One Piece because we all know Turbo Granny's voiced by Luffy. So
I actually did not know that.
You did? Yeah, no, the Japanese voice, it's Luffy.
That is awesome. Oh, holy cow. Wow.
There's been people online making fun of that and like swapping the voices over to like different things the characters say. There's been some funny stuff made.
I need to look this stuff up. I've been missing out. All right, so that does it for our review and analysis for this episode. We want to hear what your thoughts were for this latest episode, especially since we've got the next one literally right around the corner when this video drops. But still, that interaction is always great, not just for the algorithm, but because we always love hearing from you guys. And if you'd like to support everything that we do here at Camille's Harem, please make sure that you are subscribed. It's free. It helps us out a whole lot. If you want to help us out monetarily, though, check out the books that we published. Links for them are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us on this insane adventure that we call writing. And until the next time, y'all, make sure that you have it in very clear writing what kinds of deals you're making with ghosts and juice.
Eenie.